Welcome to Reality is Undefeated. I'm Ant Gatewood. Thank you for tuning in. You know, the more I talk to my parenting peers, it's becoming increasingly more apparent that a lot of us don't even know where this fight is taking place. When I say this fight, I mean this tug of war that we find ourselves in, trying to pull our children away from negative influences. A lot of us are lost in the times, and it's why most of our moves are reactionary. Media is the battlefield. YouTube is battling TikTok, which is battling X, which is battling Instagram, which is battling music, which is battling film, which is battling television, which is battling their friends who are battling you all over the right to influence your children. And those are just the platforms. We haven't gotten to the creators and influencers on these platforms speaking on the myriad of different topics that pique their interest. When in these discussions, what I often hear is the cliche solution. Oh, these kids need to sit down and read a book. And reading is certainly fundamental, but the best books by the best authors aren't competing with Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Bruno Mars, The Weeknd. Their first week numbers outperform the life of many books. And even then, there are millions of books that aren't suitable for children to read. I've said it before that every piece of media that you see or hear is trying to influence you, and it's important you understand that. Now, it doesn't mean that it's trying to negatively influence you, but the idea is to convince you one way or the other to follow this, purchase that. This group is wrong. This group is fighting for you. This is the lifestyle you want to attain. The Cheesecake Factory isn't suitable for a first date. The Cheesecake Factory is suitable for any date. This is why Black people need to do this and that. TikTok is what taught them how to steal kids. Instagram got them putting filters on every pic and getting BBLs and twerking and catfishing and feeling ugly when they look in an actual mirror. YouTube has them feeling like the lifestyle they live is inadequate and that the man that genuinely likes them isn't good enough for them and that this type of woman should never be wifed up and how much money you would make if you just buy my course. And leave Western women alone and get you a passport. The music encourages them to slide on the ops and smoke on their dead homies and gang, and pop it, twerk it, and wop. And when you're done with them, get another one. And if he can't do this for you, leave him alone. Understand that if the adults are being influenced, the children have no shot. This is what they're coming up in. Their brain is a sponge. You know, too often we look for something to blame for the reason things are why they are. And we have to go to that mirror first and make sure that we are doing what we can. So many of us are outdated when it comes to parenting. We're saying the same things, doing the same things, using the same discipline measures and same reward systems as our parents did in a completely different era. The world we grew up in looks nothing like the world they're growing up in. Nothing should be the same. Our parents didn't have to worry about half the things we do. Or actually, I shouldn't say they didn't have to worry about half the things. I should just say they had to worry about different things. But if they didn't like the music we were playing, they could just walk in the room, grab the cassette or CD, destroy it, and throw it in the trash. And we had to go spend another $15 on that. If they didn't like the movie, they could pop it out the VCR, take it, destroy it, throw it in the trash. Today, as parents, we have so much competition for our children's attention. The issues of today require different parenting than yesterday. It requires us to be available to our children a lot more than our parents had to be available to us. And it's tough because we already don't have time. We already worked 8 hours during the day, got off and ran some errands, and all we want to do is get home and get these dirty clothes off of us and get in the shower. But what we can't do in that moment is come home, go in the room, shut the door, and shut the kids out in our pursuit of a tad bit of peace until we have to get up, leave the home, and do it all over again the next day. Now that peace has to wait because TikTok is entertaining 24 hours. Yeah, Tidal is streaming 24 hours. YouTube is influencing 24 hours. If you don't want to know what's going on in your 13-year-old's life, if you don't want to hear the stories about what happened at school and why this person gets on their nerves or help them pick out a dress or a fit for homecoming, there are people all over the internet who will be happy to befriend them and help them find their way right to them. I just found out my 11-year-old daughter is an incredible writer. I would have no idea of this if I didn't take the time to read in its entirety a fictional story that she wrote. I corrected some of her grammar and explained all the different words she can use to transition into the next topic. And yes, you are absolutely correct. You can raise your kids without these devices. You can physically put books in their hands and require them to give weekly reports of the chapters that they've read. You can homeschool them to protect them from the campus environment. You can do all of that. And if you haven't already, build a casita in your backyard so they can live in, or move them to a country that's less developed, because they'll be no good out there. Their world requires them to know how to use those devices. It requires them to know how to communicate through them. It requires them to be proficient in a world that's driven by technology. And so does life in every other competitive nation. Our generation, we can go back to using landline phones. Heck, we know how to use the rotaries. We can go back to keeping quarters on us to use the payphone and giving out pager codes. We can go back to the days where the best thing on a computer was the Oregon Trail. Our kids wouldn't even know what a typewriter, what to do with it. They would think it's, oh, this is that cash register you bought me when I was a little kid. The only thing that's guaranteed in life other than death is change. And we have to change with the times. Last year I pulled up to an ATM and there was a brother out there trying to sell CDs and DVDs. And I guess I should have told him that nobody really uses CDs and DVDs anymore. I mean, it was already telling enough that he was buying ATM, because otherwise we really wouldn't have cash on us either. But that is a brother that is lost in the times. We can't be that brother. No, we can't do that. We got to think ahead. We can't find ourselves being lazy and lagging behind when all of these things are working against us. A few weeks ago, they found a teenage girl lying dead next to a middle school out here. Her body was covered in bruises. Her mother did not know where she was or who she was with, just that she was going out after school. In today's society, that is not acceptable. It's heartbreaking. We are living in extraordinary times. It's going to take extraordinary parenting to raise kids today. And that starts with being available for our kids. Every day when I get home from work, my oldest is sitting at the dining table, either working on her website or working on her artwork. I ask her what she's doing. If she has a new painting, I ask to see it. I take interest in what she has going on. My 11-year-old gets home an hour later. I ask her how school went. If there was something interesting that happened, she'll tell me. If not, she'll give me the same short and sweet. Good. A couple hours later, my son gets home from practice and I ask him how practice went. And if it didn't go that well, we'll talk about things that he can do to improve his performance next time on the court. If it did go well, then we talk about things that he can do to keep his performance consistent. My 17-year-old's on a different schedule than everyone else. So usually she's asleep when I get home. So when she wakes up, she'll either, come in and say hello, or she'll bring me some assignments that she needs work on. She needs my help on, I should say, But every day I interact with all of my kids. It doesn't take much for them to feel seen and heard. And having this daily dialogue with them not only helps make you aware of the type of issues they're dealing with at their ages, but it makes it a lot easier for you to notice a shift in their behavior. You'll be able to notice instantly when they're just not themselves. Anyhow, I just wanted to share these little thoughts with you guys, get that off my mind, Let's make it to where they don't share things with us because they don't want to, not because they don't feel like they can.